Alright guys, we're going to try to get started tonight. We'd like to welcome you out. This is our monthly RIA. We do this, Irving Homebuyers puts this on. We're thankful that everybody's come in tonight. We have a guest speaker every month. We do this on a monthly basis. Like I said, each month we try to bring in a guest speaker that really adds value no matter where you are in your investing career. Tonight we got Brian Trippe. Brian is a pretty seasoned investor. He's written a book. He has a wholesale property company out of Birmingham, and he also does some real estate investing coaching, right? So let's welcome him on.
What's up, guys? I'm so excited to be in Mobile, Alabama. I've only been here, I think, twice in my life. I'm excited to be down here from Birmingham. I'm just curious, right, by show of hands, who's ever heard of me before? I'm just curious. Guys, that really hurts. That really hurts. Holy cow. No one's ever heard of me. So I had a whole presentation prepared, but I really just, Jared and everybody just kind of, hey, just keep it simple. I'm just going to kind of tell you my story, how I got started in real estate. I do want to kind of gauge the temperature of the crowd just a little bit. Just who's brand new, never done a single deal? Okay, about half. Who's maybe just dabbling, it's not their full-time job, done a couple of deals, would like to do more and grow it? Okay? Who's just a rock star killing it, doing consistent deal flow? Okay, all right, cool. All right, so maybe half and half. Half of you guys are kind of wanting to get started. Half of you guys are maybe, wanting to kind of take it to the next level. Does that sound about right? Well, cool. I'll try to touch on a little bit of that. Wholesaling, who are my wholesalers? Who are my fix and flip people? Buy and hold? Don't know? Whatever make money? All right, cool. All right, awesome. Just trying to understand you guys a little bit. My name is Brian Trippe. I live in Birmingham, Alabama. I've been investing since 2012. I started by sitting in a seat very similar to what you're sitting in today. I'm a product of Rich Dad education. Anyone ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad? I fell for the whole, my story is, I'm driving in my car and a radio ad comes on that says, Robert Kiyosaki is coming to Birmingham. That's what I heard. Robert Kiyosaki is coming to Birmingham to speak. That's what I heard. That's not what actually they said, and that's not what actually happened either. So I get there, and it's a sales pitch about a real estate seminar. Like, hey, we're going to teach you how to do this. You always want to flip. Hey, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be incredible. I'm so excited to do this. I paid $200 to go to a 3-day seminar. Did not know a single thing about real estate. I left fired up about real estate. Now, I can say a lot of good things and a lot of bad things about them. I won't say either, but I will say this. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't be here today because it really got my juices flowing. I believe to be successful at real estate, there are a couple things you need to do, but the very first thing you need is you've got to be passionate about it. If you're not passionate about what you do, you're going to have a very hard time being successful with it. Does anybody agree with that? You got to be passionate. When I went home, I left with a book called Find It, Close It, Profit. And it was about a 150-page book. It was a big, thick book. It was a big book, I mean. It was like a workbook. I devoured that thing about an hour and a half. I just read it all in one sitting. I was that passionate, fired up about real estate. And so from there, I went 45 days after I left that 3-day seminar, I went wholesale my first deal and made $10,000. So I was coaching college basketball at Troy University. I guess it's a little bit far from here, but it's down in this sphere of the state of Alabama. I was down in Troy. You know how much money I made as a low-level assistant coach at Troy? $6,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, $6,000 as a low-level assistant coach at Troy. I made $10,000 on my very first deal. And it was like very clear at that point. I just got married, very clear at that point. I need to stop chasing this college basketball coaching dream and really start focusing on this real estate thing. So about a year later, I had to finish out that season. About a year later, I started a wholesaling company. We wholesaled nothing groundbreaking, but we did over 50 deals for 3 years in a row. And it was something that really put a lot of money in my pocket when I had no money and bad credit. Anybody can relate here? No money, bad credit. So it put some money in my pocket. I started buying rentals. I'm a big believer in owner financing. Started buying rentals subject to. Any way I could get them. Any way I could, we paid cash for a couple of them. We did the BRRRR strategy where we bought it, rehabbed it, put a renter in it, and we refinanced money back out. Ended up doing that once we built our credit up. So all that said, in about a 3-year period of time, we built a 7-figure wholesale business. have over 80 doors, and people just started, I'm sure Jared, you get this, people started coming to me saying, Brian, how'd you do it? I would love to learn more. And I have a teaching kind of mentality. I was a coach. I have a master's degree in education. I love teaching. I love talking to people and trying to share with you guys as much as I have, as much knowledge as I have. I think we're going to do Q&A. So I'm glad to share as much of my knowledge as I can because I want to help you genuinely. But what ended up happening is my real estate business suffered because of it, because I was really focused so much on other people. So I just said, listen, I'm just gonna scratch all this and just start an actual coaching program. And I started super, super cheap just to kind of pay for my time. And then it kind of blew up into this incredible thing that we started about 16 months ago called ALAREA. We call it ALAREA, the Alabama Real Estate Investor Association. We launched it in Birmingham. And I know none of you guys said you heard of me, but the RIA that we launched, we started a podcast with it. We have Alabama's only real estate podcast, so I highly encourage you. We're going to get Jared on if our schedules can align. Hopefully, some of you rockstar real estate investors are going to get you on the podcast as well if you're here. If you are not listening to who are my podcast listeners? 3, 4, 5 people. I highly encourage you to download free real estate information. Go to iTunes and just search Alabama Real Estate, and we will come right up. I highly encourage you to do that. We have rockstar real estate investors from all throughout the state, and we have a lot of national guys come on our show. I highly recommend you download that podcast. And does anyone ever go to Birmingham? Ever? 1 person? 2 people? Come check us out. Come. We're always on the second Thursday night of every month. Come. You're more than invited. So that's kind of my story. I'm a big believer in real estate education, instruction, learning the step-by-step process. I would love to kind of really understand, if anyone has any questions, understand what maybe challenges you have today, and I'll do the best I can to provide my perspective on how maybe you could overcome some of those challenges. Nobody has any challenges. We've got it all figured out. Yes, sir.
So from your first,
Tell me your name.
Trent. Yes. So from your first $10,000 deal.
Yes.
To wholesaling 50 houses.
Yes.
That first year. What did you do? What was that transition?
Okay, so I've getting to know these guys here, man, hats off to you guys and your processes, your systems, man, that's huge. That was not me. I was the guy that was out there trying to do it all. And so I was literally working my butt off. I believe that if you can talk to 5 new people per day, you're going to be successful. So that was my mantra in the very beginning. If I can just get on the phone and not be afraid to talk to people, because that's one of the biggest hangups I see in the very beginning is people are just scared to get on the phone. I don't know what to say. I don't. What if they know more than me? There are all these different things that people think in their mind when they don't really know more than you. You do know what to say. You just ask a couple leading questions. Tell me about the house. Just ask a couple of questions that are open-ended that can get people to talk. And that was me, Trent. I was picking up the phone, setting my next day schedule every single day. And I was relentless with it. I loved it. I didn't want to be a wholesaler, actually. I wanted to be a real estate investor. And when I learned, because with that $10,000 and with some other money that I'd saved, I went and bought a 6-unit. That was the second thing I did in real estate. And I spent a year of my life working on that thing, getting it rented out. And it was a terrible property. I shouldn't have bought it, but I learned so much by doing that. And it was that would have been April 2014 when we sold that and officially launched the wholesaling business. It's like, look, I made that $10,000 a year and a half ago. I can duplicate that. And I went out and I did it. And I did like 2 or 3 deals like right away. I'm like, I can do this. And I hired one guy to kind of help me do kind of the stuff I didn't want to do. He went and hung up van signs for me. He went and was posting a lot of ads on Craigslist at the time was okay. I don't know if it's still any good. I don't know if it's still bad like people say this. But I was just doing as much as I can to talk to 5 people every single day. That was my mantra. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I know little to nothing about wholesaling.
Okay.
So my question is, what type of contract do you use or do you recommend? Because I was kind of looking at them today. I was like, oh, what do you use for Alabama that makes sense to me?
Yeah, so obviously I'm not an attorney, so I would the official answer to that question is go consult with your attorney. We use in the beginning I used a very simple one-page contract. We've kind of it's grown to 2 pages now because there's a couple things I need to add in there. I just to have a contract you really just need names, signatures, property address, and price, right? You don't need a whole lot of stuff in a contract to make it valid. So I don't use the realtor's contract. It's 9 pages in the state of Alabama. We don't use that. It's 90% of it doesn't apply to us, so we just don't even use it.
So something very simple.
I would, again, I would consult your attorney before you go. I mean, a contract could be, well, a contract could be written on a napkin, right? I mean, it could be something.
It could be
super
handshake,
simple.
right? Technically, a contract is a
Not for
handshake.
real estate, technically.
Oh, yeah, right.
So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if that helped. Yes, sir.
So where do you find the 5 people that you're calling every day?
Where I find them? Oh man, I think that, so if you are a wholesaler, well actually let's take this back. Let's pretty much anything you want to do in real estate starts with a deal, right? Whether you want to wholesale it or flip it or you want to buy and hold it, right? It all starts with the deal. So as wholesalers in particular, I believe that we're marketers first. And if you're trying to find deals, you're a marketer first. And that was really the switch. What was your name?
Joseph, speak Chinese.
Joseph? I'll just stick with the first name.
It's like
Josie.
speak Chinese.
So when I figured out that I was a marketer first, that was a light bulb moment for me. I was no longer a real estate investor when I was a wholesaler. I was just a property finder. That's it. So there are lots of different ways to go out. I believe if you're brand new, are you brand new? Are you have you tried to do your first deal?
No, we have 3 already.
You've done 3 deals? You've done 3 deals? Over what period of time?
6 months.
Okay. So I believe in the beginning and you haven't done a single deal, I believe in free and cheap. But if you've done a couple of deals, I believe in reinvesting back into your business and reinvesting into marketing. If I had no money today, where do I get phone numbers? I would start driving around. This is what I would do if I had no money. I'll give you the answer if I had a little bit of money. If I had no money, who is not afraid to raise your hand and say, I have no money for marketing? Raise your hand if I have 0 money for marketing. Then this is for you. I would drive around and I would look for obviously vacant houses. And I would, don't look at me in the eye, the people that raise their hands, look at me in the eye. Find 500 addresses. 500. Don't stop until you found 500 addresses. And in my market, in Birmingham, I know Mobile's gonna be a lot different, but in my market, that's probably gonna take about 5 hours. It's not gonna take you that long.
It's not hard.
It might take a little bit longer here. It might take you a few days. Get 500 addresses. The second thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and find, so technology has changed just in the last year or 2. There are phone numbers that you can find by Google searches. Google searches. You can find phone numbers. Or you can find, everybody's on Facebook, right? You can find people on Facebook. Find the owners, go to your tax portal. I'm sure there's a tax portal here. Find out who the owner is and look those people up. Try to find their phone number, and I'm picking up that phone and I'm talking to them. If I can't find a phone number, I'm getting on Facebook. I'm finding them on Facebook. I'm stalking them. I'm sending them a quick little message on Facebook that says, I'm a house buyer. I recently looked to buy a house in your neighborhood. I'm looking to buy another house. Would you be interested in selling? Just something super simple like that. That's what I would do if I had no money. If I had a little bit of money, what I would do is I would get the same 500 addresses and I would pay someone to give me accurate phone numbers for those people. And you know what I would do is I would pick up the phone and I would not stop picking up the phone until I laid out my whole week with appointments.
How do you get the accurate phone numbers?
You can pay. There are lots of services out there. The best way is to go to a website like an Upwork. Go to a website like a Fiverr and pay someone who has access to TLO or LexisNexis, Lexus, whatever it is. Pay someone who has access to that and tell them you'll pay them, 15 cents a phone number. That's what I would do. Yep. Is anybody getting any value out of this tonight? Anybody learn anything? Yes, sir.
I'm probably the only one from Mississippi that's sitting in this right?
Okay.
And so
I have not said anything so far that would not apply to this.
No, well, we have a couple of groups over there that I'm part of, and it's they're relatively new groups. And primarily, most everyone there they haven't done things, and they're in the wholesale.
Right.
So, quite honestly, there's no buyers. There's nobody that's really has experience flipping that I've really connected with over there.
Okay.
What do you suggest I do to find buyers?
To find buyers, okay. I'll give you guys some great hacks to find buyers. Are you guys buying in Mississippi right now?
We would.
So
Yes.
there's one.
We have.
And multiple.
So what part of Mississippi?
Ocean Springs.
What's-
Near Biloxi.
What county is that?
Well, it's in Jackson County, but we're right next to Harrison County.
Which one's bigger?
Harrison.
Okay, I'm going to Harrison County Courthouse. Do you know where their auctions are?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to find out when their foreclosure auctions are. And who are at foreclosure auctions?
Buyers.
What kind of buyers?
Cash.
That's the number one hack to find buyers, is that right there. Is I am, you're right, your local RIA group, for the most part, because I host one, and so I know, you're going to get 50% of your crowd almost every single time, brand new, never done a deal. Yeah. So networking, I'm picking up the phone, I'm calling every single We Buy Houses sign I see, I'm going to Google search We Buy Houses Biloxi, We Buy Houses, whatever the name of your closest big city is, and I'm going to call every single one that comes up and just have conversations. Guys, if you are afraid to talk to people on the phone, this is not the right business for you. Sorry. You just got, or you either need to make a decision right now. A, it's not the right business for me, or I got to get better at that. I love real estate, so I got to get better at that. If you want to find great deals, so one of my mentors said to me like this: if you can consistently find discounted properties, you will be a millionaire. Period. It's just a matter of time. If you can consistently find discounted properties, it's game over. That's the name of the game. Buyers are everywhere. What's your name? Dan. Buyers are everywhere. Do you think if you got a deeply discounted property at 60, 70 cents on the dollar, and you put it out in any kind of way, Facebook, just to your friends, Craigslist, any kind of marketing channel, you don't think people would, hey, I've got a deal and I'm selling it for 60 cents on the dollar. You don't think people would flock to you in this market? We're in a total seller's market. If you can find a great deal, you're going to find a buyer. I'm not worried about buyers. I'm worried about finding the deal. If you can find a deeply discounted property consistently, game over. You guys with me? Everybody with me?
What about your rental properties? You have 81 properties.
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
How about your rental properties?
Yes, sir.
You have 80.
I have 80 doors.
Do you have a manager who manages them for you that is an employee of yours? How did you start out doing that?
I definitely started everything on my own. I've kind of, little by little, because people that are smarter than me have told me that I don't need to manage my own stuff. So little by little, I start kind of getting it. When one goes vacant, I'll get it fixed up and I'll give it to someone I trust. So, yeah. I hate property management. It's the one part of this business that is.
Any advice for how to work with a property manager? I mean,
Yeah.
you just are you calling them once a week, or what's your
So,
relationship look like?
at what stage are you? It's already rented.
Well, I've got a property manager that manages about 6 properties for me.
Okay.
And I kind of just let them do their own thing. There's
No.
not much turnover.
No.
I mean, not totally, but I could be more hands-on, but
Yeah.
I'm just kind of wondering how to be more hands-on.
No, so I would say that every month you get a statement.
Yeah.
So I'm going to analyze that statement every single
Yep,
month.
I do that.
And I'm going to have a phone. I'm going to have a conversation. Do they proactively call you once a month to have a discussion about your properties?
No.
Okay, that's a red flag to me. They should be.
I'm in touch with them because I'm a real estate also.
Okay. But I'm having a conversation at minimum monthly with my property managers just to make sure, hey, what is this for? Is there anything that we could have done differently? And I'm the kind of person with my properties, I want to fix them to where they don't get the calls, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not what some people might call a slumlord or something. I'm not just trying to move people in and get them in there as quick as I can. I want to make sure my properties, because I don't want the headaches. I want kind of tenant-proof properties as best I can. So if there is anything on my property management statement at all, anything, I don't care if it's like changing a light bulb. I'm gonna analyze that to the end, and we're having our monthly conversation. What can I do better, and what can they do better? Does that help?
Yeah, definitely. What about,
It's communication.
what about screening tenants? Do you allow them to screen the tenants for
totally.
you?
Oh, heck yeah.
Or do you get involved at all?
Oh, heck no.
Okay.
No, you don't want to be involved.
I mean, I'm not talking about meeting the person, but, you know.
What now? So this is an important question to ask too. What types of properties are these two? Are these kind of A and B properties? Or are these kind of lower level properties?
I don't know how to rank that, but basically they're.
What do they rent for?
Anywhere from $775 to $975.
Okay, so that seems like it's a C plus B property.
BC, yeah.
Okay, so you should have a decent. There should be a decent tenant pool for those.
Yeah, there's a decent tenant pool.
There's a good tenant pool for that. I'm gonna let them do their thing. I'm gonna trust them to do their thing. I do want them to. I want to know what they did. I'm not gonna buy. I don't want to go choose the tenant. That's not my job. I've hired them to do their job. But I do want to know, what did you do to select this tenant? What's their credit? What is this? Okay. I typically just I stay hands off of that, and really more for legal reasons. I want to kind of stay hands off of that.
And do you establish a standard for them to put tenants into your buildings?
So yeah, there's always a conversation, right? I think that the number one way people get disappointed, period, in life is with unmet expectations. Like if I have an expectation of you and it's not met, I'm disappointed. But if we would have had that conversation in the beginning, there won't be any of that. So it's all about communication with the property management. We're going all over the place. I love it. You want to talk about tax liens next?
My question is, when you first started out, how did you get your estimates for the properties?
Yeah. Now, are you speaking from the perspective of a wholesaler?
Wholesale.
Okay. So what I'm about to say does not apply to you if you are rehabbing. Okay, so make that very clear. If I'm a wholesaler, I'm not worried about that at all.
Okay.
I'm that much worried about it. I'm so little worried about that. I'm going to Zillow and getting at least a ballpark. Okay, I know this is around $100,000 property. I know I'm coming in at 40 cents on the dollar anyway. I just am. I'm price anchoring at 40 cents on the dollar.
For the after rehab or?
No. At my offer. My offer is going to be 40 cents on the dollar, 40% of market value minus repairs. So if it's a $100,000 property, I'm offering $20,000, $30,000.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I'm price anchoring there. So it doesn't matter what the comp is, right? If the comp ends up being 90, I'm okay. If the comp ends up being 110, I'm okay, right? That's how I do it. Now, do I get it at that? No, but I price anchor there to set their expectation. That wow, man, I was asking 80, man, I'm like way off. And there's some I don't just go in like that. There's sales strategies to this. I'd highly recommend that you guys. There's a book by the name that's called Never Split the Difference. Anyone ever heard of that book? Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. It's probably the single greatest negotiating book I've ever read. And there are ways to go about price anchoring without pissing someone off.
I was gonna ask you if somebody chased you off with baseball.
No, because we do it the right way. We say it the right way. We kind of have the all shucks approach, what Chris Voss would call the late night FM DJ voice.
And try to do it in person too, instead of.
Oh, no. I never make an offer on the phone. That's me. If you're doing bulk offers, it's different. But for me, I'm always belly to belly before. I never say a number over the phone.
I do it all day long. I think a lot of people. I understand.
That's not you guys are doing way more volume. For me, it's important to it's just kind of studies have shown it's more important to be belly to belly, face to face, to not piss someone off, do it in such a way, empathize. Empathy is like the key. Empathy is super key. You can do it on the phone, it's so much better to see it in your face.
So both of you guys, all your offers are made personally?
Oh, yeah. Every single one.
Oh, all yours are in person?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unless they're out of state or something like that.
Yeah.
I had two questions. One about getting offers and like over the phone versus in person. So whenever they call you or get in contact with people one way or the other, how are you establishing how much they want and also setting the expectation that you're not going to pay,
Yeah.
that much?
For nowadays, people kind of get it. Maybe 5 or 6 years ago, a lot of people didn't really know what the We Buy Houses stuff was. But if people are calling We Buy Houses, they're calling you, I'm assuming, they kind of get it for the most part. They know you're an investor. They know you're not going to offer market value. Okay. I actually say those words. Those exact words come out of my mouth. Before, I don't say numbers,
Yeah.
but I just set the expectation right up front. Yes, ma'am, I am an investor. Just let you know. I want to tell you a little bit about me and our company. We do buy houses for cash, but we are investors. We are in the business to make money, so we cannot offer fair market value for your property. And almost, if not every single time, almost every single time, it's, oh yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Well, your other question was, how do you get a number out of them?
No. I haven't said that yet. The other question was, so driving for dollars, I found this awesome property in like a really nice neighborhood.
Okay.
Comps are like 3 to 350.
Okay.
And anyway, so I checked the taxes on it. There's like 4 different people that have paid taxes over the last 2 years.
Okay.
Am I still mailing to the owner, or what do you do in that situation?
So why not mail it all?
Okay.
Now, is this a postcard or is this a handwritten letter? Like, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, just for this one specific, I would probably.
Yeah, obviously you're going to do the most recent,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But there can't be 4 in 2 years. You need two in 4 years?
Well, no, I mean, just over the last few years, there have been multiple different people that have paid
Our
taxes.
county
on the
shows
property.
who actually paid the taxes.
Yeah.
So like 2016, you paid them, 2015,
Right.
I paid them. But the owner's still the same.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you send to the mailing address?
Yeah, I was just
I
wondering.
would just send them the
if
mailing
it's
address.
owner or people that have paid taxes, because they might be the ones getting the tax deed or something like that.
I've both. I mean, the answer in this business is usually both.
Okay.
But why not both? It's an extra 30 cents, right?
Yeah, just wondering.
Postcard.
Okay.
35 cents.
How would you get your estimates for repairs?
So experience.
Experience.
Just do it. So I said talk to 5 sellers a day, right? If you're not, I would walk into, especially if you're newer, I would be walking into every single house I can pop. I would try to set an appointment with every single person that calls my phone. Set an appointment, especially if you're new. Now you're going to be able to have some techniques down the road where you can qualify the lead, and that on the phone there's no deal, right? But in the beginning, it's very important to go on as many appointments as you possibly can so that you can get experience with that. And if you can bring someone along that has experience, that knows what they're doing, take a bunch of pictures and take them to that person if you can rely on that. Google search. Do a Google search. What does a roof cost in Mobile, Alabama? Call roofers. When I first started, you know what I did? I walked into Home Depot and I said, how much does a kitchen cost? I didn't know. Do I look like a handyman? I'm not a handy guy. I didn't know anything. You have to, look, do your research, do your homework. Guys, if you're a wholesaler in particular, you're a hustler. That's all it is. You're a hustler. You love real estate, but you're trying to make deals. You're forcing deals to happen. So you got to do your research. Hopefully you got people to help you. If you don't have anyone to help you at all, there's this great new invention that came out not that long ago. It's called GOOGLE, and it has the answer to almost everything. How much does a roof cost? How much does it cost to paint? How much per square foot does it cost to paint a house? You know what I'm saying? How much is HVAC? I would just Google. You guys learn anything?
Yeah.
Some of y'all?
Yeah.
Tell us about your biggest deal, your biggest leg.
My biggest deal is going on right now. Hold on. Wholesale or what kind of deal?
Wholesale, sure, we're talking wholesale.
Wholesale, we got a $32,000 spread going on right now. That's $32,500. And there are people, I've heard 6-figure wholesale deals. That's awesome. We can't do that.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist really in
Not in this
Birmingham. But my biggest deal ever is going to be my mobile home park deal. When it closes, I'll make over $500,000 on it. On a mobile home park flip.
How'd you find that?
He called a We Buy Houses sign. It's ridiculous. We buy houses. This is Brian. Hey, I got a mobile home park. You buy mobile home parks. I was taught long ago if someone says, do you buy fill in the blank here.
Yes.
You say, maybe, what do you have? That's my response. Maybe, what do you have? A guy called me one time. He said, hey, do you buy $300,000 houses? And I said, maybe, what do you have? And then he goes, wait, are you sure? Because I called 3 other people and they said they don't buy $300,000 houses. And I said, well, I might. What do you have? And it was a great house. I made $22,000 or $23,000 on that wholesale deal. Just because, and 2 other people, at least 2 other, might have been 3, passed the deal up. Just because they don't buy $300,000 houses. Stupid.
So hindsight is always 20/20, right? So what did you say? What do you think like a mistake you made was? Something you didn't do. Or?
So the biggest mistake that I still make every once in a while is turning my marketing off. Thinking that I've got too many leads coming in, and I either put the brakes on big time or I completely turn it off. One year, at the end of my first full year wholesaling, around December, I knew I was going to be gone for a few weeks. I literally stopped completely marketing. And if you've been wholesaling for any period of time, you know that holiday time is the best time. It's the time you should be throwing fuel on the fire. And I totally turned off all my marketing. If you are trying to find great deals, you cannot turn off your marketing. If you turn off your marketing, you're going to eventually die out. You're going to live for a little while on the marketing that was happening recently. But if you turn your marketing off, you're dead.
So what were the consequences of that?
The consequences were having to almost literally start from scratch, almost start over, start building again. I'm thankfully, because I don't do a ton of flips. I'm probably going to do the most flips I've ever done in a year this year, which will end up being like 6. I just don't do a lot of flips. And just thankfully, I've lost money twice, but it was like a couple $1,000 each time, Just thankfully, I've never really done anything terrible. We're kind of in a 9-year run right now, right? We're in a 9-year run of just the market doing this. And so thankfully, the market's been great, and I haven't had just that terrible deal.
What have been your best marketing tools? What
So
platforms have you
in
used?
the past,
Yeah.
it's direct mail has always been our go-to. That's been the most consistent for us because we're the most consistent with it. But I don't know if this is true down here, but what's been happening lately, our direct mail numbers have just really kind of, we went from 8 to 10% response rates down to less than 2, really down to 1. So we've really been reevaluating. Most recently, I don't even have enough to talk intelligently about this, but we most recently, as of Monday, started cold calling. Just getting a list and just start cold calling people with a dialer. Just started testing that because we've heard other people are having success with that in other markets. But I'm a big believer, especially if you're new and you don't have a whole lot of resources to begin with, just go out and drive your neighborhoods. It's great to do it anyway. It's great to get to know your market, understand what's for sale, what's for rent. Write down the addresses of houses that are for sale and rent that have signs in them, and go back and look them up and what are they selling for, and just get to know your market and really understand the houses around these neighborhoods that are vacant, that are distressed, that you might be able to reach out to homeowners. But marketing is tricky because it always changes in different markets. It's different. So what I do know is tried and true is driving around, putting your eyeballs on a house, seeing that house is obviously distressed, and I'm going to try every means possible to get a hold of that homeowner.
So since your direct mail responses are changing, have you been changing the list of who you're mailing to?
Oh yeah, so our best lists that we mail to have always been what we call FOIA lists, Freedom of Information Act lists. Those have always been our best lists. Evictions, weed liens, grass liens, whatever y'all call them down here, nuisance liens, code violations, all the stuff that's going to be that you can request that list from a Freedom of Information Act request. And I don't know how Mobile is set up, but Birmingham, Birmingham City is actually not as big as you think it is. But Birmingham has I don't even know how many it is, 50 maybe municipalities all around. There are all these little cities that have their own town halls and city halls. You literally have to go into every one of them and request information. That's tax delinquent. All those kinds of Freedom of Information Act lists, they're either free or cheap, and then we just mail the heck out of them. Code violations is huge for us. Code violations is a free list for the most part. Sometimes you have to pay like $10 an hour to the secretary to make you copies or something, or to send it to you, and you end up paying $20 or $30. But for the most part, it's free or cheap.
Awesome.
Yep. But you can go the absentee owner route if you want. We do some high equity stuff every once in a while, but that's easy to get. You go to listsource.com.
Yeah.
Freedom of Information Act stuff, it's there and it's mostly free, but it's a lot of work, so most people don't want to do it. List source is a click of a button.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it.
How'd you get access to money when you started out? I mean, do you buy anything, or do you just get it under contract?
So, yeah, I think the answer to that, you're not gonna like my answer, but the most important thing you can do in any business period, there may be some business owners in here from some other businesses maybe, the single most important thing you could ever do is to come to an event like this and to shake hands with people and meet people. How do I find money? Relationships. I build relationships first. I add value first. I don't ask first, I add value first. I love asking the question, I even asked it over here, what's your biggest challenge right now? I love asking that question. If someone asks that question to you and you can talk for a little while, you're going to naturally feel heard and feel understood, and you're going to have a natural draw and connection to that person. And that's one of the biggest things that you could do in an atmosphere like this. Come to these meetings. I don't know if there are other ones around town. If there are ones, go to realtor meetings even. Do as much networking as you can possibly do. That's why it's so important to pick up the phone. It is so important to Google search, "We Buy Houses Mobile," and call the first 5 pages of what comes up. Call every one of them and try to build relationships. And that is huge, man. I struggled with that in the beginning. Money, like how to find money, where to find money. The good thing is right now, guys, money is everywhere. Just like buyers are everywhere, money. There's so much money flooding the market. It's pretty easy. There's what time are you gonna get Trent?
Yeah.
Watch this. I have no idea what's about to happen. Watch this. Raise your hand right now if you are a private money lender or would lend money on a real estate deal. Raise it up high. Come on, raise it up high. Raise your hand up high if you are a private money lender or you would lend money. Look around the room. There's 5 people, Trent, in this room. You can put your hands down now. See what I'm saying? Build relationships. Go talk to those 2 guys in the back. What are your names? Wes?
Joe.
And Joe? Jody? Joey?
Joey.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, but yeah.
Joey. She's not having a hard time.
EY.
Joey.
Wes and Joey. They got millions and millions.
Millions, actually.
Billions! Does that help?
Yeah. I was just kind of curious how you would start.
Do this. Google search. Your best friend is who? Google. That's your best friend. Google search. Private money lenders, Mobile, Alabama. About 5 billion will come up. Not 5 billion, but a bunch. You guys learn anything? Anybody have a challenge right now that I wanted to raise my hand? I'm gonna come all the way back here. Somebody back here in this other room. Dude, these doors are amazing. Gosh. Who has a challenge right now? That has any challenge whatsoever that I might be able to shed any more light? Nobody. Yes, sir.
Okay, so say I'm hosting them,
Okay.
and I'm just new in the business.
Okay.
Do I go out and try to put as many properties under contract and then go
No.
find buyers, or how's that supposed to work?
Okay, so everybody hear his question? Is he supposed to just go out and put a bunch of properties under contract? No. because there are laws. There are laws, and whether you know it or like it or not, and whether you're a realtor or not, you are governed by the Alabama Real Estate Commission. Okay? They are over all real estate transactions that happen in the state of Alabama. Now, they cannot convict you or indict you or whatever it is, but they can make recommendations to your attorney general, so they can come after you if you're doing something. So there are lots of laws when it comes to wholesaling in particular. So obviously I don't have time to get into all that, and I'm not an attorney. So I would highly discourage you from just going out and willy-nilly putting a bunch of houses under contract. That's not good business, okay? I would invest in yourself, and I would go and do as much research as I possibly can. Go and look at as many houses as I can. And in the beginning, if you're brand new, and what was your name again?
Marcus.
Marcus asked the question earlier, what resource do I use to find comps? I would just go to Zillow, and whatever Zillow says, I would offer 40% of what Zillow says, and if they accept it, then you're probably gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? But if they don't, if they want the issue I see, where I see people getting in trouble, is they're putting houses under contract and they're not even remotely a good deal. But if you're getting properties that deep of a discount from what Zillow says, it's probably some sort of deal. Someone would like it, so I would put that out there to a buyer. Make sense?
Okay.
Now, if you can get as many of those as you can, say go for it.
All right, so how many contracts you put on, do you get a contract on, just to start out, like 5, or and then go try to sell them,
No.
find your buyers, or how does it work?
As soon as you get a contract, I would try to start marketing that contract for sale. As soon as you get a contract. The minute you get it. So the chicken and the egg question comes up all the time. What do I do first? Do I go get buyers or do I go get houses? That's the age-old question in this business. The answer is both. The answer is usually both. If there's ever an either-or question, the answer is usually both. Do both at the same time. You should be talking to people all day long. And if you're picking up the phone, you're calling potential buyers, like off We Buy Houses list, your networking function, you're doing this while you're going to drive for dollars tomorrow, right? Go knock on doors tomorrow, right? There are all these different things you can do. But no, as soon as you get a contract, get it out to your buyers list. You should very easily be able to get 100 people on your buyers list in the first few days.
Where do you go to get them?
Where do you go to get buyers? Relationships. Who's buying property? Raise your hand if you're buying properties right now in Mobile. Raise your hand up high. There's 8 in here, 10 in here. So talk to these 10 people first. So that's 10. Okay. Are there any other real estate functions in Mobile? I'm sure there are. Go to all of them. In Birmingham, there's like 10. There might even be more than that. In Mobile, there's probably 4 or 5 or 6. Go to every one of them and meet people and talk to people. Get online, search We Buy Houses Mobile, Alabama, and call every one of them. Get on different wholesaling Facebook groups and just be a part of the community. Hey, who's buying in Mobile? I'm getting started, I'm trying to build my buyers list. Who's buying Mobile? Right now, it's such a seller's market. There's so many buyers everywhere that buyers are going to be lined up to put their email addresses in there. You can pretty easily go to the courthouse auctions. You can pretty easily get 100 buyers on your buyers list in the first few days that you start. And then go out and just start talking to sellers. Start knocking on doors, find vacant houses, knock on the door if nobody's there, talk to the neighbor. Hey, I see this house is vacant. Do you know where they are? Do you know if they'd be willing to sell it? I'm a house buyer. I'm buying houses in this neighborhood. Is your house for sale? Okay? Just be relentless. You're not going to be a successful wholesaler if you're not going to be relentless. And if you don't love real estate, you're not passionate about it. You guys learn anything tonight?
Yes.
I would love to give everyone here a copy of my brand new book. Is that cool? Can I do that?
Yeah.
I've got a new book. I just put this out like a week ago. It just came out. It's called Nothing's for Sale. That's a good title, huh? Nothing's for sale. I'd love to shake every one of your hands and give you a copy of this if that's cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys want to end on a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, give me a hand.